Tonight on News 5 Live, American sailors rescued at sea after drifting into Belizean waters during bad weather. More Pfizer vaccines arrive from U.S. More training on human trafficking. And Diwali wishes for the Indian community. Details of these stories and more coming up in tonight's newscast.
It's a fact that your credit lasts longer when using Smart. During these times, we're all trying to find ways to cut costs and save the little resources we have. With Smart, it's easy to do that. It's a fact that with Smart, your credit lasts longer. You can call Smart to Smart and Smart to Digi using your promo credit, while with the other guy, you can only call OnNet, Digi, or BTL numbers. What does this mean? You get to call any national number using your promo credit. Your promo credit is free, so that call is also free. Know your facts. Don't be tricked by the other guy. Be smart and save your dollars.
Have you ever wondered how to tell if someone is marriage material? Do you ever wish there was more to your marriage? Maybe you've asked yourself, how do I raise my kids the way God wants me to? Join us for our new series, Mixtape. We'll play through how God wants us to love the people in our lives one track at a time. Get ready to crank up the volume and tune in for advice God gives us in the areas that matter most.
Is something wrong? Oh, you can go and use the bathroom. Take all the time you need.
Harmful bacteria can be found on all surfaces in public restrooms, making it unsafe for breastfeeding.
I want to use the bathroom again. It's not sanitary.
Okay, let me step out and you can have the room.
A shared responsibility means having a supportive environment within the workplace where the woman can pump her breast or even feed the child during her free time. This is a message from UNICEF and the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
This newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Thursday, November 4th. I am Sabrina Daly. The Belize Coast Guard has rescued 2 American women who were attempting to reach the U.S. on a sailboat. The foreign-flagged sailboat named Sencia had left Livingston, Guatemala en route to Florida on Wednesday. But soon after departure, it encountered unfavorable weather conditions and its engine failed. Then its sails got damaged and the boat ended up drifting into Belizean waters. The Belize Coast Guard Services received a distress call and quick action led to the recovery of the vessel and the rescue of its 2 female occupants. Operations Officer with the Belize Coast Guard, Lieutenant Kenrick Thomas shared with News 5 how they managed to make a successful rescue of a boat drifting without lights at night in bad weather.
The Coast Guard deployed 2 assets to conduct surface searches in the area. And at about 10:40 p.m., the vessel was located southeast of Ranguana Key. The vessel was towed to Safe Harbor, where the Coast Guard continues to render or provide the necessary assistance for the occupants. On board were 2 female American nationals who reported to be in good health conditions. It was a straight voyage, and that crosses our territorial sea spaces, where they experienced the mechanical failure.
How difficult of a rescue operation was this?
It was a difficult one, because the vessel lost complete power, so there were no visibility It was very difficult for the Coast Guard because it was a night operation. And secondly, the vessel had no sort of lighting.
Thomas warns seafarers who want to venture out on long marine voyages to pay keen attention to the weather advisories to avoid getting caught in the thunderstorms and rough sea conditions that can potentially put their lives at risk.
We at the Coast Guard would like to inform the general public to take heed into the weather forecast, especially prior to going out at sea, and when they start experiencing bad weathers out at sea, to seek safe harbor and not to weather the storm out in the open waters.
Another shipment of Pfizer vaccines arrived from the U.S. today. The second shipment of 117 vaccines is in addition to one of roughly the same amount in August. According to a release from the U.S. Embassy Belmopan, today's donation brings Belize closer to a return to face-to-face learning, resuming to normal business operations, and going back to other essential elements of life disrupted by the pandemic. Since 2020, U.S. COVID-19 support to Belize has amounted to more than $2.8 million, including technology to identify COVID-19 variants in laboratory surveillance, towards protection for line workers, and facilitating a national vaccination campaign. Today, officials from the Ministry of Immigration gathered to mark the midway point in the development of a new e-passport system, which will transition Belize towards passports that contain a chip with the holder's biodata. Electronic passports are already widely used across the globe, and government is looking forward to our citizens being able to use them at international entry points and possibly obtain visa waivers for the European Union. CEO in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Immigration, Dr. Gilroy Middleton, and Minister of State Ramon Cervantes spoke about the timeline for implementation of the Electronic Passport Issuance and Control Systems, or EPICS, and what it means for applicants at a brief ceremony today, the George Price Center in Belmopan.
Cabinet approved the e-passport systems in February 2021. In April of 2021, Belize signed an agreement with Caribbean Banknote Limited in terms of procuring the system. Since then, we've been working feverishly. We've currently worked on the design process, working with our colleagues from NITCH, from the Belize Tourism Board, and members from the Ministry of Immigration. So we're wrapping up the design process, and now we transition into the actual processing of the passports. So we have the CBN officials here, meeting with officials in different capacities here in the country and visiting our various offices to see where the system will be utilized. And we expect that this entire process will be finished by July 2022, and the first passport will be issued early 2022 August.
Their data will be captured at the districts. The printing will be done in Belmopan, but the data and everything will be captured in the district, so the people don't have to come to Belmopan or go to Belize City, or in the case of Orange Walk, we won't have to go to Belize City or Corozal or Belmopan to apply for a passport, because our data will be captured at the station in the district. But the printing, yes, will be done in Belmopan.
It is not yet known if the new passport system will speed up the application and issuance of Belizean passports, which take on average 3 to 5 weeks unless an expedite fee is paid. Coming up, more electricity for the South, and is the future of Belize's public transport electric? Find out more when we return.
With RF&G Insurance, you can request a quote, renew a policy, purchase a policy, and even file a claim effortlessly with WhatsApp. Here's how. WhatsApp the words "Get Started" to 670-8700. We will prompt you to select the service that you are interested in. Select the service and answer a few simple questions. An RF&G representative will process your request and follow up with you when your transaction is completed. It's that easy. Skip lines and WhatsApp us. Remember, it pays to get it right with RF&G Insurance, a road group company.
So I'm gonna wonder if by chance I could get your number. It's Digit. Nice.
Of course, you have digital, right?
Yeah, of course.
The truth is, your credit lasts way longer with Digi. Like if you top up with like $30, that could last you 90 days. With the other guys, that must save 60. Then with the other guys, you have to use all of your good prime credit before you even touch your bonus credit. But with Digi, you could use your bonus credit before you even touch your prime credit. Like, what are the point to have free credit if you can't use it how you want? So, what are your number?
Just give me one moment.
The truth is, only Digi offers nationwide LTE coverage, fastest mobile data speeds, and the best call quality.
Are you looking to invest in a growing free trade economy with ideal geographical positioning and existing economic partnership agreements with countries around the world? Perfectly nestled between Central America and the Caribbean, Belize is open for business with over $500 million in investment opportunities in industries such as agriculture, aquaculture, tourism, and much more. Register today to participate in the Belize Investment Summit 2021 and find the investment opportunity that's right for you.
Life can be tough when a loved one suddenly departs. Dependents of the deceased are sometimes left alone to pick up the pieces and may be stranded financially. Fortunately, the Social Security Board provides survivor's benefit to ease the burden. Survivor's benefit is paid to a widow or widower, children under 18 years, or up to 21 years if attending school, or dependent parents. A survivor's benefit can be either a grant or a pension. Want to know more about survivor's benefit? Visit our website or contact any of our offices to have someone assist you. Also, be sure to visit our Facebook page and give us a like to stay informed. Social Security Board, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
Currently, 36 rural communities across Belize are without electricity. Out of that number, 28 do want it in their villages because they are cut off from the level of communications the rest of the country enjoy. Access to proper education and healthcare are also hindered without power, and the use of kerosene lamps and the constant extraction of wood from the forest to create fires creates a further strain on the environment. But as Belize works to increase electrification, renewable energy sources are also becoming a reality for off-the-grid areas. This was among the topics this morning on Channel 5's Open Your Eyes.
When it comes to specifically getting access to these communities, we're actually starting to make great waves, specifically when it comes to microgrids. So these communities that are very far off from BL's main grid. We are coming in and we're installing solar panels, centralized solar panels to produce power. BL has partnered with us to put in the distribution lines so that then families can connect to this microgrid and have access to power just like any other Belizean in other part of the country.
We started a program, I think, in Indian Creek, Medina Bank, and Golden Stream. That was sponsored by the United Arab Emirates. That should be in completion within 6 months. That should be on stream and provide 24-hour electricity to them. We also started a program in Corazon Creek in Toledo because the majority of them are in the Toledo district that don't have any access. So that is on stream right now. And then just about a month ago, we did a tour with Light Up Belize. This is from the European Union. And we are now identifying another 6 because they have a $30 million project, which is a grant, to be able to reach out to 6 more communities.
Access to electricity paves the way for access to devices like cell phones and radios, critical items in times of emergency, as well as information sharing. Digi representatives are touring these rural communities alongside the ministry to identify solutions for greater access to communication.
It will become more easy access with the advent of electricity. So while we were traveling around the country, we make sure we carry BTL along with us. And Mr.
It's primarily BTL and BL who have been traveling with us. So one of the things that we have done is because microgrids, they have to be sized for the community. Yeah. So apart from the size of the community, we also put in an additional amount for utilities, such as Digi, so that they could come in, put in a tower or a repeater. So then that community can now have access to cellular service. But not only that, but we could also put in now things such as signal boosters. So things such as radios, they'll now have access to radios. And it's not just for, let's quote unquote, entertainment purposes, but it's actually an emergency response so that people know if there are anything, natural disasters, flooding, hurricanes, things to that effect.
Public transportation systems across the world are often accused of being huge carbon emitters for their heavy reliance on fossil fuel, as well as the pollution they create. But as climate change remains a pressing global crisis, technologies are being developed to replace traditional automobiles with environmentally friendly alternatives. One such alternative is electric vehicles. GOB is exploring how to remove outdated, mechanically compromised buses off the nation's highways and decrease duties for Belizeans wishing to buy electric cars.
Through the EDF, European Development Fund, we are getting funding to buy 3 electric buses. Those should be in the country maybe mid-2022. And we have already designated a spot where we'll do a pilot run, one in the west and 2 in Belize City. But when you look at the price of these buses, it is really outrageous. I'm talking about $700,000, $800,000 for a bus. In the end, it should pay off, but it is to find the initial money to purchase these buses. But we are starting that process. I think within a couple of days, BL is going to contribute 2 motorcycles, I think 1 to the City Council and 1 for some other organization to start the process.
Okay. And what about electric cars?
Well, we already have about 2 or 3 in the country. And I say our government have now put the legislation in place to allow our Belizean people to purchase them and at a reduced cost of duty. Because when we purchase in Belize and the duty is 75%, that almost double the cost.
And in partnering with BL as well, BL is doing a pilot program for charging stations across the city, and then eventually rolling out across the country.
The break, the topic was energy today at COP26. Find out what small states like Belize are contributing to the talks. But first, here's a look at the latest COVID-19 figures.
We have been a partner with Smart for over 10 plus years. We have a full Smart plan we use as our major driver for our business. We have a service that rolls over in that if you call one and it is busy, it rolls over to the next line. So once you call us, you can get us at any time. Before we got this Smart service, we were paying upwards of nearly $2,000 in phone bills. Since we've had our Smart service, we pay an average of about $600. So we've had tremendous saving, more than 50%. For the businesses, if you want to save money, switch to Smart because it is far more cost effective and the service is excellent.
Smart continues to be innovative in bringing new technology and meaningful savings during these challenging times to businesses across Belize. Sign up for our VoIP technology or broadband packages and save more.
Hello, welcome to Samsung's awesome experience right here in Belize. Come check it out. Not sure which Samsung Galaxy A series is right for you? Touch, play, and learn about your device before you buy. Once you've purchased your device, you can now benefit from the full Samsung service experience. Your phone is covered by a 1-year local warranty. This includes manufacturer defects and software and hardware issues caused by the manufacturer. Enjoy your phone with peace of mind knowing that your Galaxy is protected. And when your warranty expires, you can still bring it to our certified Samsung Repair Center. Our technicians will diagnose and repair your device with Samsung original parts and machinery. Enjoy the Samsung experience when you shop at any of our authorized partners countrywide, including Cellular World, Digi, Odette's Home Center, Debari, Tropigas, and Quartz. Join the Samsung experience in Belize today.
The COVID vaccines that we have available are very effective and safe. And it is very important for elderly persons and frontline health workers and other frontline workers to get it, because these vaccines protect you from becoming ill if you get COVID.
As COVID-19 vaccines are approved for use in the general population, monitoring for safety continues. Each COVID-19 vaccine goes through the same clinical trials and rigorous study as with all other vaccines, with the focus on safety and efficacy.
Nothing goes into the nucleus, nothing affects the genetic code of the human. It is a very safe vaccine. This is a vaccine that we all need to take because it will keep us safe.
Vaccines bring us closer.
Despite our best efforts, we often let our guards down. Reaching in for hugs and unavoidable encounters expose us to COVID-19, and not knowing our status can be scary. Quality rapid antigen tests, such as SD Biosensor, have provided a quick way to find out our COVID-19 status. And now, with the introduction of the FDA-approved Accula Rapid PCR test, finding out your COVID-19 status using PCR is also quick and easy. The Accula Rapid PCR test delivers results in just 30 minutes to identify patients who are COVID-19 positive. The Accula Rapid PCR test will further strengthen Belize's testing capabilities and benefit Belizeans as we attempt to resume doing the things we love and enjoy. Through quality, reliable tools like the SD Biosensor antigen test, the Accula Rapid PCR test, heroic frontline workers, and responsible government and citizenry, we will beat COVID-19.
As one of the largest cable and internet providers in Belize, CBC strives to provide our customers with the highest standards of quality, value, and service in all aspects of cable TV and internet. Monitoring our systems closely, our technicians combine creative planning and state-of-the-art technology with years of experience and training to develop and provide the most reliable and advanced cable and internet service to exceed your expectations. For CBC and our team of talented engineers, technicians, and customer service representatives, delivering less than the very best is never an option.
It is not one of the most contentious issues being discussed at the conference of the parties in Glasgow, Scotland. But today, a key discussion on the agenda was renewable energy and energy efficiency. Belize is planning to transition to greener energy and to wean ourselves off from our dependency on Mexico. That plan, if it happens, promises new opportunities and challenges. News 5's Dwayne Moody is at COP26 and files the following report.
It's day 4 at the COP26, and today the theme for the discussions, energy.
In these sessions, government ministers and experts are trying to balance the energy industry, which has for years been an economic driver for countries to extract and export oil. With a call for action to reduce the use of fossil fuels to mitigate the challenges of climate change, there are obvious concerns about the survival of economies.
Well, energy has always been an economic driver for us. It touches every life, touches every industry. Climate does the same thing. Touches every life, touches every industry. And we recognize it's very important for the two to have a conversation that is sustainable, a conversation that is effectively going to be transformative, a conversation that is required for the energy transition. Countries are looking at mitigation strategies, but we recognize mitigation and adaptation need to be twinned. Twinned in such a way that we have to have the energy personnel and climate personnel having the conversation in the same room at the same time.
And so while there is a push for greener energy sources, like the use of electric buses and solar-powered technology, these recommended transitions are not without costs and may not be applicable to individual countries.
We have to change our business models. It's not business as usual. And we are adapting. We as humans, we know how to innovate, and we should push the envelope. We're a global village, but in every global village, or anything that is a whole, you have to look at the granular level. So you have to understand the local context. Not all shoes fits all, right? Not all size fits all. So you have to look at your local context. So even from a country like Belize to Jamaica to Barbados, we all have our differences, and there's no silver bullet. But we always have to look at the local context and customize to optimize to drive the transition.
Energy is not one of the contentious issues in the broader Conference of the Parties. It is part of the presidency agenda, which outlines key discussions on transitioning to support the reduction of GHG emissions. As a country, Belize has been dependent on energy from neighboring Mexico through the Comisión Federal de Electricidad, CFE. But as we found out from CEO Dr. Kenrick Williams of the Ministry of Sustainable Development, Climate Change and Disaster Risk Management, Belize's readjusted national determined contributions is taking into consideration a shift to greener energy.
No, for Belize, just like any other country, we have to be part of the process. We have to do our part in terms of the emission reductions. So while we're on a net carbon sink, we still have things that we can do in terms of particular energy and transport sector that can help to reduce emissions. So for example, we can look at things like, or we've committed as a country within our NDCs, or nationally determined contributions, to reduce our energy, to transition to renewable energy by 75%, to reduce emissions within the power sector, for example. And in doing so, we seek to increase the efficiency of our grid. We seek to strengthen our transport system in terms of transition to electric-powered transport system. So these things will help us in terms of reducing our emissions.
The hope is that the transition to greener energy will present economic opportunities similar to carbon credits for countries like Belize.
But as part of our broader commitments and part of the direction, it is to move towards independent energy source, clean energy source. So for example, when looking at our renewable mix, we have looking at hydropower, looking at solar, looking at biomass. So things like our cogeneration plan, how do we strengthen and improve the efficiency within that system? You know, there's certain research being done to look at opportunities for increasing the type of electric outputs, the energy outputs, sorry, of cogeneration and stuff like that. I mean, in addition to this discussion on where we're going to see reduced energy and reduce emissions as a result of improved the green energy mix, if you will, we think that there are important financial opportunities that exist in this transition for Belize.
Reporting from COP26, Glasgow, Scotland, to Moody for News 5.
The Minister of Sustainable Development, Climate Change and Disaster Risk Management arrived in Glasgow on Wednesday and hit the ground running. Today, News 5's Dwayne Moody found him at a high-level side event hosted by the Commonwealth Secretariat. The Commonwealth Climate Finance Access Hub seeks to strengthen the climate finance loop for effective NDC implementation. Here's an excerpt from Minister Habet's presentation.
We are also one of the most vulnerable nations in the region. Belize, I think, is ranked like number 3 in the region as a vulnerable state. Very important for us because we also are being affected by the effects of climate change on a constant basis. 2019, we saw a long, extended drought period that caused a lot of damage, especially to our agricultural sector. We speak in some of these meetings about the problems we recently faced with the hurricanes Eta and Iota in 2020, which was one behind the next. But we forget that just a few years before, we had 5 consecutive hurricanes that affected us, and we lost over $500 million. The problem is, and I think Minister from Jamaica also mentioned, is that when we want to seek the assistance after these sudden impact events like hurricanes and the drought, some of the international community that want to assist us because it's an emergency, we have to declare a state of emergency for it to activate and trigger some of these monies that come down. And because of that, we are hurried to do it. And many times what we do is we look at the agriculture sector, and then we look at the infrastructure that has been damaged because of these events. We forget, but we feel 3 or 5 years later, all the social impacts that these events have, because now they sort of become slow onset events that are as a consequence of these short impact events. So these are some of the problems that we face, and they are really expensive and hard to recover from. And by the time you try to start recovering, the following year is here, and then you have other events coming along with hurricanes and drought.
Simultaneously, over at the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change Pavilion, a discussion on NDC development, implementation, and how these efforts can speak to other potential nature-based solutions was held. It featured a ministerial panel of countries who have included coastal, wetland, mangrove, seagrass, and salt marsh protections in their updated national determined contributions. Minister of Blue Economy Andrew Paris sat on that panel. Here's a clip from his statement.
Belize is continuously confronted with the extremes of climate crisis. Its communities and national economy are threatened by the now prevailing superstorms and the impacts of events such as sea level rise, saltwater intrusion, erratic variability in weather patterns, and warming waters. These threaten our valuable natural assets, such as our coral reef, which is the longest barrier reef in the Western Hemisphere. In addition, they reduce the potential for fish production and other economic sectors products, such as tourism. Sustained droughts and extreme temperatures also negatively impact our crops and livestock. While a relatively minor contributor to global greenhouse gas emissions, the government of Belize has outlined goals to mitigate the impacts of our energy, agriculture, waste, and industrial processes and other sectors. We are very proud of our updated nationally determined contributions, which outline targets and efforts to steward, conserve, and restore our natural resources, notably our forests, wetlands, and marine ecosystems. Our Belizean people recognize that tackling climate change and addressing Our biodiversity crisis must happen in tandem if we are to be successful to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Our blue carbon mangrove and seagrass ecosystems play important roles as nature-based solutions to climate change with mitigation, adaptation, and resilience co-benefits.
Ahead, it's one of the biggest holidays for the Indian community in Belize. We will have a Diwali greeting when we come back. But first, here is a weather update with data from the Belize Met Service.
At Bennett's, you will find deal alerts on a wide selection of paints, including BH paints and Texture Light paints. Deal alert markdowns will also be applied to our complete selection of tiles, lights and fans, appliances, and much, much more. And remember, Deal Alert purchases will get double tickets to take part in the grand draw on December 18th to win $10,000. For more details, visit Bennett's.bz. Bennett's, quality and savings.
How can we support the emotional well-being of older adults during COVID-19? During the COVID-19 pandemic, and particularly while in quarantine, individuals, including older adults, may become more anxious, angry, stressed, agitated, or withdrawn, especially those who need healthcare assistance or have cognitive decline or dementia. Here are 4 strategies that can help you in supporting an older adult during this difficult time. 1. Communicate information and listen. Present with accurate, simple, and accessible information and facts about the COVID-19 outbreak, its progression, treatment, and effective strategies to prevent infection. Listen patiently to their needs and concerns. For older people with mild cognitive impairment or early stages of dementia, inform them of what is happening within their capacity and provide support to ease their anxiety and stress. 2. Promote positive mental and emotional health. Provide access to available mental health and psychosocial support services, also known as MHPSS services, for older adults and communicate when and how they can access them. Help older people keep regular routines and schedules as much as possible. You can also help them create new ones, including regular exercising, cleaning, daily chores, singing, painting, or other activities. Facilitate regular communication between older adults and their friends and families. 3. Help with medical needs. Make sure that older adults have at least up to 1 month of all the regular medicines that they may require. Explain how to use protective devices in a clear, concise way. Always be respectful and patient. 4. Assist with daily activities. Provide older people with details related to how and where they can get practical help if needed, like calling a taxi, dropping off supplies, having groceries delivered, and requesting medical care, as well as information on any locally available social support programs and services. For more information, consult the webpage of the Pan American Health Organization, www.paho.org/coronavirus.
Imagine going through your entire day without the burden and risk of carrying cash on you. Belize's shift to digital wallets has begun with eCash. We can now skip the cash when collecting money or paying for our essentials, all while using a fast, easy, and secure platform. Simply add funds to your wallet via bank transfer or at an agent, and you're good to go. You will be able to make quick, easy payments simply by scanning QR codes. And best of all, it all happens just like that. Payments are as easy as clicking a link online or scanning a QR code. Download the eCash app from the Google Play and Apple App Store today and take your first step into a cashless lifestyle. The future is here with eCash. For more information, visit www.e-cash.com or contact us via WhatsApp at 613-0257 to find out more.
Bringing people together has always been SMART's mission and passion. That is why we are proud to have built a locally independent quality network from the ground up that spans the country with over 100 sites. We continue to add more affordable mobile data packages, broadband speeds, and voice services to meet your personal and business needs. SMART has set the standard of true competition with the most competitive prices on all services offered. We invite and welcome you to join the SMART family, where the value for your dollar matters. SMART will continue bringing new technologies, more affordable prices, network expansions, and people together. SMART, bringing people together.
People who engage in the effort to discourage human trafficking today gathered to further their discussion on the topic. The assembly included personnel from the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Council, members of the Belize Police Department, the Ministry of Human Development, the Human Trafficking Institute, the Immigration Department, the Ministry of Labor and Local Government, and the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. The symposium looked at ways to strengthen the collaborative structure and the various branches that work together in the fight against trafficking. The forum also provided the opportunity for the participants to better understand the role they play in the collective approach, as well as how to better network among themselves. Belize is on according to the U.S. State Department after having been upgraded from Tier 3 in 2019. The arrival of East Indians to Belize dates back to the 1800s. From these early origins and waves of more recent immigration, many Indian Belizeans have taken the lead in trade, education, medicine, governance, and law. In spite of the distance between Belize and their motherland, in both time and space, many enjoy one of the biggest traditional celebrations, Diwali, or the Festival of Lights. We spoke via Zoom to Danish Bojwani about keeping this tradition and the community bonds it creates alive in the diaspora.
You know, it's like anything else, right? So if you generally don't have something, you tend to value it a little bit more. If you look around the world, the diaspora tends to celebrate Diwali. It's probably, if I would like to say, it is probably the biggest celebration in India. And so it kind of brings the community together as well. It's generally a time to celebrate, go over to see family, goes over to see friends. I equate it to, from a celebratory standpoint and the way it is done, it's very similar to Christmas in that family gets together, you buy new clothes, you buy new jewelry, it's an auspicious time to buy to buy a house, to buy a car, and you get to spend a lot of time with friends and family and celebrate. So from that standpoint, it's very similar in that. And I think that it's important for us to pass on some of these traditions to the next generation. You know, there's few things, you know, they always say, if you really want to know who a true person is, know where they came from. And I think that's important in our culture to try to give that to our next generation. The spirituality, the language, all of these things are very important. I think for any religion or for any culture, to be honest. I like to say in the mother tongue, Diwali ja laka laka vadayu to all the members of the Indian community. But I would also like to extend Happy Diwali to everybody in Belize. It's not just something that is unique to us. Yes, it is from us, but it can also be by us, and we would like for everybody to celebrate.
Up next, on this week's COVID Chronicles, should you have to get vaccinated to go to a house of worship? Religious leaders weigh in. Stay with us.
Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine? The Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine is an RNA vaccine that triggers our immune system to develop antibodies against the SARS-CoV-2 virus that causes COVID-19. It helps to reduce hospitalization, severity of the disease, and death. What is the Pfizer vaccine made of, and is it safe? The Pfizer vaccine is made up of mRNA messenger ribonucleic acid, which are molecules that carry the genetic information needed to make proteins, lipid, salts, and sugar. It is safe for persons 12 years and older and does not contain the COVID-19 virus, hence cannot cause infection. Tests have shown that the vaccine is effective against current virus variants. Who should take the Pfizer vaccine? The Pfizer vaccine should be taken by persons 12 years of age and older who do not have severe allergic reaction after a previous dose of vaccine or have not had severe allergic reaction to any ingredient of this vaccine. 2 doses of the vaccine are required 3 weeks apart. If you are between the ages of 12 and 17 years, you are required to present a signed consent form before you are vaccinated. What are the side effects of the Pfizer vaccine? Some common side effects of the Pfizer vaccine are headache, fatigue, muscle pain, fever, chills, and swelling at the injection site. If side effects persist, contact your doctor as soon as possible. Does the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine prevent infection and transmission? No, vaccination alone does not prevent infection and transmission. We are still required to continue to wear masks properly, physically distance, wash and sanitize hands often, practice proper coughing and sneezing hygiene, and avoid crowds.
Es un hecho. Únicamente con Smart obtienes todo realmente ilimitado. Solo con Smart obtienes datos ilimitados en cualquier momento. Mientras que con el otro proveedor solo son datos dobles los fines de semana. Con datos ilimitados todos los días no hay necesidad de esperar, así que es un hecho que nuestros planes ilimitados superan a la competencia. Por lo tanto, no permita que le digan cómo y cuándo usar sus datos y obtenga llamadas, mensajes de texto y datos ilimitados. Vive la verdadera experiencia de planes ilimitados con Smart. Es un hecho. Haga el cambio y viva Smart.
The TV you love is always with you. From live TV, sports, and on-demand titles. Choose your plan today. Plans start as low as $15 per month. My TV. Entertainment anytime, anywhere.
Tonight on COVID Chronicles, we look at the role of the churches in abiding by the existing COVID-19 regulations, as well as the impact of the pandemic on the religious community and the ability of the churches to serve the less fortunate. We also get a multi-denominational perspective from the Catholic, Methodist, and Evangelical churches on the need for vaccinations. News 5's Isani Cayetano reports.
COVID-19 has virtually ravaged all sectors of Belizean society. While a lot of focus has been placed on economic recovery, education, and healthcare, spirituality has taken a backseat to the goings-on in this country. Being physically present at daily and weekly church services has dwindled considerably, making it twice as difficult to attend to the needs of parishioners, including the less fortunate.
We are used to celebrating Mass almost every day. We don't celebrate Mass on Good Friday. So every other day of the year, we have Mass, and people come because of their awesome love for the Eucharist and their devotion that they have been observing for many, many years. So that played a very major impact on parish life. For myself, not encountering the parishioners as usual was kind of dramatic in the sense that you know, you're not seeing folks that you normally see almost every day around weekends.
That means that collecting tithes from churchgoers in order to run the financial affairs of the community has been quite a challenge. Contributions from baptisms, weddings, and funerals have also petered out. Bishop Moses Benguche heads the Methodist Church in Belize and Honduras.
It is by the grace of God. And the church is thankful to its committed, faithful members who continue, despite the challenging situation we are facing, who continue to give. But of course, that membership has dropped. And it means then that the church have to scramble around in other areas. For example, we're happy for our membership, those in the diaspora who would assist from time to time. And honestly speaking, when we speak to, for example, the church giving out hamper baskets, it is not only the local membership that continues to encourage that kind of giving to those who are in need, but it is also those from the diaspora who have also sent some funds.
Perhaps the greatest obstacle encountered by the church recently was government's initial position that worshippers who wish to attend service would have to produce a vaccination card in order to participate in the celebration of Christ. Because the church exists to accept all sinners into the house of God, turning away the unvaccinated naturally presented a quandary.
To tell people, a person comes up and he doesn't have a card, he or she doesn't have a card to come into the church. You are going to tell them, no, you realize the implication of that is church, you know.
Yeah.
That is a very serious situation to hear, no, you can't come in.
From the perspective of the Methodist Church, whose bishop is also the senator representing the Council of Churches, the need for vaccination is fully supported.
The Methodist Church, working with the Belize Council of Churches, has always advocated for the use of vaccine and for our citizens ensuring that they're vaccinated. And so we, the Methodist Church, has been at the forefront and promoters of the vaccine insofar as taking the vaccine is concerned. In fact, we have sat down with the government on numerous occasions to encourage them and to remind them that our buildings are also available for a part of the vaccination campaign.
In St. Martin's, Swift Hall has been designated as a vaccination center. At St. Joseph, however, Father Noel Leslie has had to determine who amongst his flock is vaccinated based on casual conversations.
As a pastor, it's something that kind of baffled me. It's something that I myself did not really want to do. And I would say happily because of my knowledge of the people who come here and what I knew about them before that regulation there, in ordinary conversations, I found out who were vaccinated and not vaccinated. So it was those regular ones who were vaccinated that I knew that kept on coming. And I didn't have to bother too much.
But is there a moral responsibility for the church to uphold in reducing the spread of the virus by avoiding contamination between vaccinated and unvaccinated churchgoers?
The persons who are fearful and are vaccinated and know that people who are unvaccinated will be allowed to come. They don't necessarily have to come. And this service will still be online, so they will still get it. Just as we did yesterday was our anniversary service, it was online, and people got it, you know, and people, interestingly, we are having people outside of our area, outside of our country, joining the service now with the new way of doing things.
Reporting for News 5, I am Isana Cayetano.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us. And from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.